Good morning, everyone. It's Peter from April. Sorry about our local state. It's just been a long few days, just over a week, and some other bits. I had a question the other day asked to me, so I'm going to address it, and I'm going to eat humble pie at the same time, which I don't do very often. So everyone knows there's been a report of an Asian hornet in New Romney. And it was us that reported it. Now, I've worked with the NBU, National Bee Unit, before, and everyone knows that. It's very public. At the time, they wasn't kitted out for doing the Asian hornet. None of us was. It was still so early. They're bee inspectors at the end of the day, seasonal bee inspectors. So none of us were kitted out. It took a little bit longer than we wanted. The Asian hornet didn't do exactly what it should have been doing. I didn't fully understand all this at the time. I had a lot of people in my ear roll feeding me stuff that I possibly shouldn't have got involved with, but I did. So I put a report in on Sunday morning, I think it was. Midday-ish Sunday, I think it was. National Bee Unit were on the phone pretty quick. And by Monday morning, like 10 o'clock in the morning, the bee inspector was with me on site. We sat there for 3 hours, and I've had to apologise because I did actually cane this bee inspector before and a couple of others. So I had to eat a bit of humble pie. I sat there with him for the morning. There was no Asian hornet to see or nothing. It's a little bit weird. We go off and have some lunch, come back. We're sitting there in the afternoon, and this whole Asian hornet watching isn't, turn up site for 15 minutes, 10 minutes, and hope you're going to see it. We're so early in the season that we're not going to get a 10-minute flybacks. So we're so early in the season that it just doesn't happen like that. They don't need so much protein to feed. And there's lots of nectar in the daytime, so they get on plants as well. Easy pickings. The beehives become a lot later in the afternoon time-ish or early in the morning, where it's easy pickings, basically, or bad weather. So anyway, we sat there for the afternoon. I learned a lot about beekeeping, and I learned a massive amount about the Asian hornet on that Monday. So later in the afternoon, bee inspector netted an Asian hornet, and I've got to say, his netting skills is amazing. It's so quick. It was amazing to watch. So the sample was taken. The sample's gone off to the lab, and we're just waiting for the results back still for that. Now, we've been monitoring every single day ever since, which is why I've not been contacting people. And it's hard to juggle 6 hours a day being at the field just to make sure that see where the issue is, if we have another issue. I'm going to touch wood. Well, I always touch the head because it's made of wood. So I'll go back to where I was. We've been monitoring it every day. We've not had another one. It can mean a couple of things. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritties of what it could be or the way it could be until the lab results have come fully back. Then we won't have full answers. I can see what I think, and possibly the bee inspector sees what he thinks, and now we just need to wait for the lab results to actually confirm what either I'm right or I'm wrong, or the beekeeper, the NBU are right or wrong. I think we're both on the same wavelength, so I'm hoping that we're both going to be right, and that's the end of it. So I'm going to eat humble pie, and 3 years in now with the NBU, I was dreading having to contact them again. I'm not going to lie, I was scared rotten. But they're there to do a job. Their response is super fast. Their skills is super good. So I do keep seeing, and I'm going to say it again, I do keep seeing other pest control companies martyring on about picking swarms up and not picking swarms up, sorry. They can deal with the Asian hornet nests. And there was a couple of comments the other day that was on another community page that said a Pacific company and a Pacific person, more to the point, will come and pick them up, no problem at all. Well, it makes it sound like that one's been picked up in Ham Street, and it's never been reported to the MBU. And the same thing as well is there was a sighting, and it was all over one of the community pages again, which is where this original other part of this story come from, saying that they've had one in their house, they've reported it through the app, etc, etc. Well, I know that's not been reported as well. So I've been told of 2 different ones in Ham Street which have never become through on the app, so there's no records of them. It could be tit for tat. We don't actually know what the true results of it are. But I do run on to everyone. Anyone that supports me at Marsh Apiaries and fully understands that I will always be straight with you and I never lie to any of my followers. Don't muck around with pest control companies if you have an inkling that it's an Asian hornet. Try and photo it and go on the app and report it. If you don't have access to the app, there's email addresses that can be sent for the older generation. I fully understand that not everyone has the app. But please, 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 do not be phoning your regular pest control officer. Contact the MBU and they'll get it done for you. They don't charge either. But what we do get with the MBU that we have not seem to be getting from other people is they come and do it professionally. They take the nests away, and then everything, the hornets or the nests, they all go to the lab. Everything gets tested, and we can start seeing the genome line of everything. We can then tell whether it's workers, whether it's queens, whether it's freshly fledged queens. It gives us so much. It gives the MBU so much data. And the MBU are very forthcoming and are willing to work with us. But we have to give them their time to do their part. That's crucial. What they do is very, very skilled. They're not mucking around at this. This is an invasive species to the UK that can cause us a lot of trouble for our pollinating insects. The fact that we still have the MBU involved 3 years later is amazing. A lot of countries, a lot of areas have give up. We are so lucky to have the MBU. You know, I think it's something like 1,000 nests already in Guernsey or one of them islands. This season alone, you know, it's a complete loss to the country. They're never going to be able to keep honeybees there, and they're going to struggle to have pollinating insects there before long if something's not done about it. So, please, 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 if you're suspecting an Asian hornet, please contact the National Bee Unit. And as I said, I eat humble pie, and I apologise to the MBU, and I'm doing it publicly as well, so it will go back to the MBU at some point. I am sorry for doubting you 3 years ago. I had a lot going on 3 years ago where I had certain company and certain person feeding me a lot of spill, and then as soon as I opened my mouth, they silenced me. So it was more, then people wanted to speak, didn't have the balls to speak. Yet they know Peter will speak, so we'll feed Peter it. You know, there were certain posts that I put up that was pretty rip for me. I'm not going to lie. There's no way I could write them. I have dyslexia. So people aren't silly. There was a lot of technical words in there. But I shared the post, or I shared the I shared it. I did it, you know, but I didn't write some of it. So for me, I eat humble pie. I apologise to the National B Unit, and I just hope that everyone follows protocol and they contact the MBU, and then that helps with the track and trace program. And that is the only way we're going to beat this in the UK. So don't use a local pest controller. Half of them don't know what they're doing. They treat it as if it's a European or a wasp nest. They spray it, charge you 60 quid, clear off, and you won't see them again. And if they've mucked it up, then you're going to have a split from maybe a primary nest going up into a secondary nest. The queen could abscond and restart somewhere else, which can happen. And then you've got some larvae being built there, and then Asian hornets are still going to be lingering. And then you've got the queen travelled a little way distance and she set up a new home, and away she goes again. So if we don't treat this right, we're in a whole lot of trouble in the UK. So protocol is key. MBU straight away, and then the MBU will make the decision, and that's the only way we're going to get through this in the UK. So just I hope everyone's listened all the way through, and thank you for 11 minutes and 25 seconds of your day. God bless.